Hey, it's Jared. I'm doing something that I haven't done in a really long time, and that is switch over to Android. I've completely removed myself from an iPhone and an Apple Watch, and I've been using the Galaxy S26 Ultra for the last couple of weeks, and I plan to use it for a full 30 days to really remove myself from the Apple ecosystem that I have been so ingrained in for many, many years. Now, I have always had an Android phone to some extent. I really like the Android platform, and I just have struggled to make it my daily phone, and it ends up being a phone that just sits on the shelf that I use to maybe do some case reviews and stuff like that from time to time, and then maybe fantasize about the idea of being on Android, because there's a lot of great things about Android. It's just there are a lot more creature comforts that come with being a part of the full Apple ecosystem. So when I got the S26 Ultra, I started spending some time with it, and I thought, you know what, this is just such a snappy, fun to use device that I need to make it my daily driver for a little while and just see if I can exist. I know that I'm going to have some initial discomforts, like when I can't use iMessage, or the first time I want to airdrop a photo to my Mac and I can't do that. I need to just power through those discomforts and spend some time just figuring out the best way to use the Galaxy S26 Ultra with a Mac, because that's the world that I live in. And so it's been a couple of weeks now, and I really am enjoying the process. There are some things about the S26 Ultra, just such as how snappy the device is. It's just so fast and snappy. Whenever I am using the iPhone, I'll go back to my iPhone because maybe I need a two-factor code that just pulls up on the iPhone. It's slow, and it's not slow as far as performance goes. The way that iOS moves between screens and stuff like that is smooth rather than snappy, and that's kind of where I landed as the differentiator between both of these devices. They're both fantastic. I've watched a handful of videos, maybe you have too, from other YouTubers that have reviewed these devices, but the difference between smoothness and snappiness is the differentiator for me. I want a phone that's snappy. I don't care about liquid glass. I don't care about things morphing and flowing into each other. I just want to get to where I'm going fast. I don't need all of these little micro interruptions while things have to go from one screen to the next. And really, I am nitpicking because the iPhone still is a really fast device. It's just that it takes a bit of time to get between things. And if you spend a bit of time on the S26 Ultra, you're really going to easily be able to tell the difference. So let's just take a look at my S26 Ultra briefly, and then I'll talk more about my experience. I have been using it with the Torres O-Stand Q3 Air case, which I absolutely love. This is the same case that I have on my iPhone that I've had on my iPhone for a little while now. I'm just using the stock launcher. I haven't gone and used a different launcher or anything like that. I wanted just the Samsung experience and didn't want to muddy the waters by changing too many things. But just in the snappiness of getting between different screens and stuff like that and navigating around the device, I found that when I go to grab my S26 Ultra to do a task or something like that, I can get through that really fast and then put the phone away. It just gets out of my way. I don't have to spend a lot of time navigating and moving around the operating system. The S26 Ultra is just really fast. The battery life has also been pretty impressive. I'm at 52%. It is almost 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and I've been up since 4 a.m. So I've been up for a long time, and the battery life has been going really well. I also had screen on time for about an hour while I worked out this morning because I was using the Zwift app while I was riding on my stationary bike in the basement. And that's an interesting thing. The first time that I used Zwift on this device, I noticed that everything seemed just snappier and more crisp than when I was on the iPhone. Now, I quickly realized that the reason that everything looked so crisp and snappy on the S26 Ultra is because the frame rate was nice and high, and the resolution on the phone was higher as well, and so it ate a lot of my battery. So eventually I set Zwift as an app that didn't need to run in full gaming mode. Of course, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is known for its fantastic refresh rate and beautiful display, but if you have those things set on their maximum settings, then even when you're using an app that you don't necessarily care if things are at its top performance, like Zwift, I'm just riding my bike and watching touching the screen, it's going to eat through my battery a bit. So I lowered those settings a bit for the Zwift app, and I'm here with 52% of battery that I have left. Now, if we go look at the battery screen here, you can see my daily usage has been pretty high since I've been using this phone. You can see I've got 12.5 hours estimated time left, and of course it shows all of the apps that I've been using here. I did charge it to 100%, and it's been off of charge since about 4 this morning, with a total screen on time today of 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I think it's doing pretty well. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is if I just use this as a phone throughout the day, maybe checking some email, browsing the web here and there, but not heavily using the phone, I end the day in the 60 percentile of battery left. I have over 60% of the battery left in a day. I have not had that happen once in I don't even know how long that I've been using the iPhone, where I end the day with 60% battery left, unless I left the phone either off half the day or definitely screen off, not doing anything with the phone for the majority of the day. I feel like the S26 Ultra, as long as you don't go into games that of course are going to use a lot of performance, the battery life has just been really insane on this device. Now, I also have paired it with the Galaxy Watch Ultra. I've been using this watch for about a week and a half now, and I'll probably make a whole nother video about the Galaxy Watch Ultra and the experience there, because it doesn't really match up to an Apple Watch or a Garmin watch or anything like that. But I thought if we're going to do it, we're going to go full experience with the Galaxy platform. And that also meant picking up a pair of the Galaxy Buds Pro 4, which I might have to make a whole nother video about those as well, because they are absolutely fantastic. So the typical things that I do on my phone in a day-to-day, besides text messages, phone calls, checking email, I'm browsing the web often. I'm checking things as I am a web developer, and so I often use my phone to check websites, just make sure things are loading. If I make a change, make sure it looks good on a mobile device. I just got done developing a new booking estimator for a carpet cleaner website, and so I've been testing this out and just making sure that everything looks good there. I also do a little bit of stock trading, so I'm in and out of that app and maybe entering positions and just kind of watching things depending on how crazy the day is. And so I end up with, on average, 3 to 5 hours of screen on time in a day. That does sound like a lot, but sometimes it is literally just watching something off to the side as I'm working on my computer. So as far as the device goes, it has been a pretty decent experience. There are a few caveats though to the Android experience, which another way in which I use this phone that I absolutely love is Android Auto in my vehicle. I absolutely love Android Auto. I think it's a much better looking and easier to navigate platform than Apple CarPlay. It just looks better, it flows, and to say flow, you know, it's actually snappy, really. It's snappier than Apple CarPlay. And of course, even when I was using Apple CarPlay, I was using Google Maps most of the time anyway. And so now having that native, whether I'm also listening to music or an audiobook or something like that, the experience is just really, really nice. But there are a few frustrations that I've had with this phone as I've been using it that go beyond just the creature comforts that I'm obviously missing from the Apple ecosystem. One of those is that it's often that I will dictate things into my phone while I'm driving. So if I'm listening to music or an audiobook, if I need to dictate something, I might use a voice prompt to have Gemini open an app or something like that, and then the music will start playing again. Then when I start to dictate, well, the music doesn't turn off or the audiobook doesn't turn off. So I'm trying to talk over that. It's also picking up words and stuff like that. The phone just doesn't seem always as aware of what I'm trying to do, especially when I want to dictate into the phone. If the microphone is on, it probably also shouldn't be playing audio. Now, it doesn't do this all the time. It seems in Samsung's core apps and even the text messaging app, it doesn't do that. But if I'm in other third-party apps, it doesn't seem to recognize that, and that causes problems. I do have multiple unlock methods set up in the phone, such as the fingerprint and the face scanner, and it's often that it defaults to the fingerprint reader most of the time, and the fingerprint reader can misscan quite often. I do have a screen protector on the phone. I did rescan my thumbprint and even added a second version of the same thumb just to try and circumvent this problem, but it seems like there's no way around it. If you have a screen protector on the phone, it's often that your fingerprint isn't going to read right, and that could be frustrating. Of course, with face unlock, that works pretty fast as well. As you can see, it unlocked pretty quickly, but face unlock isn't isn't always available in every single app. That's another interesting thing, is that you can have your thumbprint work in an app, say a banking app, and I see this show up pretty often in banking apps. My thumbprint is the only option that it will allow. It won't allow the face unlock. And I don't know if that's simply because the app itself only recognizes one option, or if they simply won't accept the face unlock because maybe they don't feel it's as secure as the thumbprint. So for me, I run into issues because the thumbprint is failing, because I want a screen protector on the phone, because I want to protect the screen. I have scratched many a Samsung Ultra, and even when the phone wasn't my primary phone, even when I would just take it out occasionally, I would somehow end up with scratches or scuffs on the S26 Ultra. And even though I've watched Jerry Riggs' video and seen that the glass on the S26 Ultra is better than it's ever been, I would be the guy who puts his phone in his pocket and somehow ends up with deeper grooves at a level 8. Other than that, though, my experience with the S26 Ultra has been absolutely fantastic. I love the cameras. I obviously love the snappiness of the operating system, and the battery life has been absolutely fantastic. I will say that one thing that I think Apple has pulled ahead on is the quality of the widgets. These widgets just don't look that great. They look like widgets that have been around on Android for a long time, and Apple's widgets look really good and they work really well also. So I'm just not too excited about these widgets. For example, this one here is big and it has a bunch of extra space here. Nothing adjusts to fill in the space. I end up with a bunch of extra blank space, but if I shrink it down to the next size, then I can't see anything. And this doesn't have to do with And the issues with these widgets are simply limitations of the widgets themselves. I mean, I guess you could redesign things a little bit better, but these widgets have to be designed to work in all sorts of different situations with different Android phones. As you can see, some of the widgets that are Samsung specific look pretty good, whereas other widgets, even this Perplexity one looks okay, but it looks much better on the iPhone. Of course, this Bible widget is way better on the iPhone than it is on Android. I love being able to just swipe over and have access to Google here with some sports scores and some different things that it's just recommending that I check out, and it's really nice just to be able to swipe over and get access to that without having to go into the Google app. Let's quickly talk about AI features. Of course, this phone has a lot more AI features than the iPhone does, but the features that I might find myself using throughout the day, like enabling me to send text messages without having to touch my device and interact with it in that way, I have found that the iPhone is pretty fast and snappy there. But of course, when you start asking it questions and asking it to perform more complex tasks, that's where it falls apart. AI integration is leaps and bounds deeper in the S26 Ultra, even though I do find myself a little bit confused as to whether or not I should be using Gemini or Bixby. So all that to say, my experience with the S26 Ultra so far has been fantastic. Now, the rest of my family is on Apple devices, and so there's a bit of friction there in me being on an Android device. Of course, now I'm green bubble for everybody, and there are certain features like Find My that I would have to go to my iPad to use now, because that simply isn't going to work on the S26 Ultra. But I'm determined to live my life as a Galaxy S26 Ultra user for the rest of these 30 days and report my findings back to you guys. So far, it's been a lot of fun, and I have really enjoyed this device. I know that if and when I do decide to go back to the iPhone, it's going to feel like moving through molasses compared to the S26 Ultra. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Of course, you want to click that subscribe button because I will be coming back at the end of 30 days with a more full review of the S26 Ultra, my experiences using it, and I'll be doing perhaps one of the most in-depth side-by-side comparisons of the iPhone and the Galaxy phone. We're talking far beyond cameras and which one has the better battery life. We're looking at everything, including the in-car experience. So if you're subscribed and you have the notifications turned on, you won't miss it. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.